Caterpillar MH3049 is a big material handling machine and it weighs around 50 tonnes. This is a 1:50 scale model, but although the real machine weighs 50 tonnes, luckily the model doesn't end up weighing 1 tonne. It comes in an outer shipping carton and inside is a Caterpillar branded box, and it's actually quite large because the model is posed inside. As usual for a Tonkin model, if you open up the left hand side, just inside the flap there is a small collector card. That's got a photo of the real machine, and on the other side is some technical specification details. After a quick bit of manhandling you can pull out the insides of the box, and it turns out to be one massive hinged plastic former. All it takes is to pull the poppers apart and then you get access to the model. The model itself just pulls out, and also in the packaging is a couple of extra work tools and a bag containing some spare pins. There is one other thing to note on the model, and it's not clear whether it's packaging that's intended to only be there for shipping. And it's this hard plastic clip which is there to stop the pin that connects the tool from coming out. It does that effectively, but it's not something you'd want to leave on the model during display, because it doesn't look very good. Looking underneath, the detail is very simple with a black plastic plate. There's no drive shafts because the real machine doesn't have them, and the hollow looking stabilisers appear basic. The fin rubber tyres are good and are mounted on plastic wheels. The stabiliser beams are all metal, but the access steps are crude plastic. The inside of the cab is good with nice controls and a cat logo on the seat back. Outside, the cab protection is plastic. The cab elevating mechanism is modelled well, but there are no hydraulic hoses. At the back, the counterweight's got a solid grille and the video camera is just visible at the top. The metal handrails are good because they're nice and thin, but in contrast the plastic element in the middle is a bit flimsy feeling. The hydraulics on the boom are also soft plastic. There are work lights mounted on the top of the stick, but on the review model at least, they point the wrong way. The orange peel grapples are all metal parts with nicely shaped tines. The magnet looks good and it has a simple chain connection to the stick. Let's start with a quick size check, and the model stands 10 inches or 26 centimeters tall. And in the Cranes etc. scrapyard, the MH3049 rolls well. Picking the machine up with the 5-tine hand grapple, we can see underneath and the wheels spin freely. There's no oscillation modelled on the non-steering axle, but there is working steering, although the angle that it can achieve is very shallow. So let's set the steering and give it a quick run. And the one thing this machine won't be doing is any sharp turns. Moving on to the stabilisers, and the machine's got a 4-point system. The pads are pivoting and the rams which control them are very stiff, but that does mean they can support the model wheels free. In terms of the rotation of the machine, it works quite well. It's fairly smooth with just a touch of stickiness in certain places. Now we'll get on to the business end of things, which is the movement of the boom and the stick. And the first thing to note is that the grapple can be brought up fairly close to the front of the machine. The rams do have a reasonable stiffness, so it appears that most poses can be held. But then in certain places it becomes loose and won't hold the pose. Interestingly though, if it's stretched out at full reach, then the review model would hold a pose again. So perhaps it's just a little bit hit and miss as to whether it will hold a pose you want to set. This is a material handling machine and they often have elevating cabs, and this one is no different and it works quite well. The cab raises up and the rams are stiff enough to hold most poses. But it's got an interesting mechanism because the whole thing is double jointed. So that means the cab does an interesting trick, and that's because it gives a unique access arrangement for the operator. Instead of climbing up and down ladders, the operator can enter and leave the cab at ground level. Moving on to the work tools, and the grapples can swing in 2 dimensions, and each of the tines can be opened and closed. However, they're not interlocked, so they open individually, and they just rely on friction at the hinge points. So you might find that in 1 or 2 positions the tines are too loose. In addition to the 2 orange peel grapples, there's also a magnet, and that has just a simple pinned connection to the stick. Once the pin's in place, you can then make the cable connection to finish it off. On to the genuine imitation real life test, and let's use the magnet. And here we are picking up some old scrap metal. And there's the nice feature, which is that the magnet actually is a magnet. So you can happily spend your time moving ferrous metals about. Just marvel now at how the Cranes Etc. operator removes the ferrous metal, and also in one seamless movement produces the world's fastest unhitching of the magnet. Which is all very well because that allows us to move on to the next test, which is to see if the MH3049 can be posed as a transport load. The answer is that the boom does go down quite a long way, but doesn't quite reach a horizontal aspect. However, let's whistle up the low loader and see how we get on. And the first thing we notice is how those fools in the Cranes Etc. team set about loading on the machine the wrong way round. Come on, it doesn't fit that way, do it the other way. You know, it seems like these days you just can't get the staff. Anyway, the team have woken up at last, and they're now trying to put the model on the right way round. Yes, well done lads, it's a good job nobody's watching. In case you want to try this at home, it's 11.5 inches or 29 centimeters long. This is certainly a quite large and affordable model by Tonkin. The detailing is at a reasonable level, and the majority of the functionality is quite good. It's nice to see a Caterpillar material handler, and overall it's recommended.